Hello everyone, it's Jacob again, and I'd like to welcome everyone. Let's say that we have made it to the second tier in Flow Health System for lifestyle upgrades. The first tier explained the phenomenon of the activation of the mind, the body, and the spirit. This next tier includes how the tools of diet, exercise, and stress recycling work together for full spectrum top tier health. Today I'm going to be starting on diet. So I think that diet can be considered many things. In my personal opinion, I believe it's the things that you watch, how you think. It can even be the light pollution from your phone that helps you avoid the necessary sleep that you need. Also, one of the reasons why I chose diet first was kind of to say that out of tools that you need to use, diet, out of exercise, diet, and stress recycling, I chose diet first because some people cannot exercise. Some people have injuries to, say, their spine, or they have just not the ability to be able to exercise or be active. So the first one we'll use is diet. Let's see, I think the best way to stave off obesity and all the health complications that come with that and a deterioration of good posture would be with food. All right. In terms of medicine, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food." And this is kind of where I go when it comes to the way that I do my kinesiology. The original medical symbol was a staff, a wooden staff for naturopathic medicine. All right, so that's kind of what I want to do today, is explain to you how naturopathic diet is medicine and how it works in a system to create better wellness for you. All right, so if you don't mind, I'd just like to begin. All right, so diet, exercise, and stress recycling are all important for optimal health. With diet, in order for us to understand weight loss, it's a simple explanation for a caloric deficit. So you don't want to eat more calories than you're consuming. You want to be burning more calories than you're consuming. You can kind of keep your weight at an area. All right, that's one way to describe it. I think that both diet and exercise used together can help reduce the risk of diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure. It can aid in building muscles and improve overall mental health. The healthiest diet, they say, is considered to be the Mediterranean diet because it's abundant in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and olive oil. Now for this little session, I want us to start rethinking what diet is. And I'd also like to say one of the things that I do for potential clients, once you become a client, I ask for an amount of time that everything that you eat, you just take a picture and you send it to myself or whatever personal trainer you're using. And then the conversation can start about being more aware of what you consume and how that affects you in everyday life or in your training performance schedule. All right, so now that we're going to rethink the diet, some of the weirdest things that as a scientist I get to study and do research on, especially after this COVID area, was immunity became such a big deal during COVID that I was researching stuff like diet, and they said even one sugary drink, one Coca-Cola, would reduce the amount of immunity in your body. And that what became such a necessary thing during this COVID era. All right, so anything dealing with immunity was, in my opinion, something to look for, because this is how we could stave off this crazy COVID mess. All right, so anyways, I always say limit sodas and other drinks and high sugar. All right, you want to watch your portion size. All right, so if you want to eat portions that are recommended and not over portions or even under portions, because one of the things that we like to say when we train is like a car. When you're driving, if the fuel's on E, you're not going to get as far before you have to refuel. But if you fuel up, you can get further in on your adventure to your destination or on your training. And that's how some of this food works with me. All right, I say replace processed foods with whole foods. Buy organic as much as possible. Stay away from genetically modified organisms that are foods. Eat vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. I personally buy small batches that prepare a week's worth of meals, and that's kind of how I shop. I start with going down the aisle and get fruits and vegetables galore. That's how I start my meal plans. And then I like to get that, and then I'll go to the lean meats like turkey, chicken, fish, and then when I cook these different things, I'll do vegetables, a lean meat, and say like a salad, sweet potato, or a rice side. And that's kind of how I make my weekly meal plan. All right. But some other important things is that food can help with sleeping patterns, energy levels, and overall general health. The vagus nerve is the stomach's connection to the brain. So there is a brain gut connection that we talk about. That's also a brain heart gut connection that's important. All right, let's say that there are many reasons why gut health can lead to better health. One of them is that the gut is the organ that hosts the largest concentration of immune cells in your entire body. Gut bacteria also produces hundreds of neurochemicals that the brain uses to regulate basic physiological processes as well as mental processes such as learning, memory, and mood. One of the best examples of why I consider not consuming alcohol regularly beneficial is because of this. All right, so gut bacteria manufactures about 95% of the body's supply of serotonin. That's your healthy, feel-good chemical. It influences mood and gastro activity. Alcohol affects the stomach and its serotonin production. All right, alcohol consumption also creates a more acidic environment in the body, which hinders serotonin production. And then on top of this, alcohol is a depressant, right? So if you constantly consume alcohol, you are using a depressant that keeps all your happy feel-good chemicals from being made. And so now you're going down on a level of health. Also, with health combined with exercise 3 days a week, this is how you factor in good health, right? So if you're drinking, not producing serotonin, also drinking a depressant and not getting the recommended 3 days a week exercising, then you're falling behind on your health. And I personally believe when alcohol is used over prolonged periods of time, it is a negation of health and wellness. And a lot of people don't like me saying this, but limiting alcohol can be one of the quickest ways to better health. And I myself have experienced this. All right, so another thing about food and healing your gut. So say you are in that lower part of the assessment where you're in disease and distress and you're wondering why your stomach's always hurting. So we want to talk about how to heal your gut today. All right, so we say that patients, clients, whatever, should aim for at least 30 to 45 minutes of aerobic physical activity daily. And see, this is how these tools combine. You can see that they overlap with each other to be able to use these tools to get access to greater health. All right, so we're going to talk about serotonin boosting foods. We're going to consume more of those. We're going to get more sunlight and vitamin D from that. Exercise is very important if you're going to heal your gut, and managing stress. A lot of anxiety can go straight to that gut area. So managing stress, like I said, the alchemy of stress, exercise, and good food, serotonin boosting foods. There you go. Those are 3 tools to heal not only your gut, but to have that process transferred to the rest of your body and the rest of your wellness. All right, foods that decrease serotonin production are foods that are high in trans fats. For a good example would be like potato chips, pizza, fast foods, just not healthy stuff consumed over and over again in that type of pattern. Just not consciously eating for your wellness. Foods that increase serotonin levels would be salmon, turkey, poultry, eggs, tofu and soy, milk and cheese, pineapples. All right, so some of the things I like to do when I pick up food at the shopping center is I practice picking up practical foods that I'm going to use. So these things in my training and diet are the least processed foods that I can get. I get as much organic, non-GMO foods as I can get. All right, when it comes to picking out the fruits, I love the oranges, bananas, apples, grapefruits, lemons, blueberries, pineapples, avocados, and raspberries, blackberries, all kinds of stuff like that. All right, so proteins, I get eggs, fish, chicken, ground turkey, and tofu, and I'll mix those up in different combinations with my vegetables, and that's kind of my staple. Some starchy vegetables, I'm light on these, but I will do sweet potatoes, winter squash, stuff like that. And then the grains and legumes, there's always salads to be made. I have a vegetable salad or a fruit salad. I love testing out different dressings. With grains and legumes, you have quinoa, oats, brown rice, dried black beans, buckwheat, red lentils, barley, and farro. All right, I'm not going to go into how all this energy is created through this phosphorylation or the glycolysis or anything like that. What I just want to say quickly is that carbs converted to glucose, that will be used for energy first. This is how the energy systems work in the body. Glucose that is not used is stored as glycogen, and after glycogen is used, then the body uses to store fat, right? Protein would be the last energy source, since protein is mainly used for the building and repairing of muscle. All right, and then we talk about how the brain's only fuel source is glucose, and the muscles, they use glycogen. All right, and so this was very interesting to me. Kind of with my degree, I've learned how to follow how money works in medicine, and I think that my natural instinct is to see what connections I can make with the money that is invested. All right, and so after doing some of this research, I feel like it would seem, based off the following information that I'm about to give you, that I can make a case that certain food is made so people will not gain health, but symptoms of illness that can be treated with pharmaceuticals. All right, so this is part of the preventative health thing. We're going to stave off the obesity, the bad posture, the back problems, all by exercise and diet, all right, and stress recycling. But one of the big things that I found was there's this corporate giant named Monsanto, right? And everybody's heard of this giant corporate entity. Because they're the largest maker of GMO foods and GMO seeds. All right, they're also famous for making Agent Orange, which was used in Vietnam, which I've talked to some vets who have kidney problems and stuff like that now. They also have been known to make Roundup, which also has about 100,000 Roundup lawsuits that have been settled nationwide. Many of the suits claim the glyphosate-based herbicide caused their cancer. All right, since its initial founding as a chemical company in 1901, Monsanto has been accused of a plethora of human rights and environmental violations. All right, and when we talk about a corporation, what we need to know about a corporation is that they are set up with the rights of an individual, but they don't have to follow anything but whatever their bottom line is, which is usually to make money. So what's the difference between bribery and lobbying? This is something that I was finding out. How does everything get passed so that we can get these foods that we need through government intervention? Because the government loves to intervene. All right, so some of the biggest lobbyists include the National Restaurant Association, the Grocery Manufacturers Association, Coca-Cola, like I was saying earlier about sugars, and Monsanto. And then I have some pertinent correlations relevant to modern times about Bill Gates, who now owns the most farmland of anyone in the United States. He owns 268,984 acres of land combined across 19 states. Monsanto merged with the Bayer Corporation in 2018. Some side note on the Bayer business model: Bayer knowingly sold HIV-infected medicine to hemophiliacs. It was better for them not to trash the medicine and lose all that money. Instead, they decided to pay out in settlements where the total loss of the company would be less than if they had destroyed the medicine. That was my first huge red flag about these corporations and dealing with our food. All right, so from 2000 to 2009, there was a birth of a new Monsanto. Does Pfizer own Monsanto? Pharmacia was bought by Pfizer in 2003, which was a subsidiary of Monsanto. All right, and then also Monsanto gets so much money. In 2005, Monsanto acquired Emergent Genetics and its Stoneville and NextGen cotton brands. Emergent was the third largest U.S. cottonseed company with about 12% of the whole entire U.S. market. All right, in 2010, the Gates Foundation Trust invested about $23 million in Monsanto. This equal to 500,000 shares of Monsanto, which is the leading producer of GMOs. Now, why would Bill Gates be trying to involve himself in pursuing the goal of getting this corporate giant that's not been known for great things out there more openly into the world? To make more money, supposedly, as a bottom line. All right. Let's say that Monsanto was the world's largest seed company and owned about 80% of all the genetically modified seeds planted around the world. 80%. All right. As the biggest selling weed killer in the world, Roundup accounts for 17% of Monsanto's total annual sales of $9 billion. All right, some of the biggest investors in Pfizer stock are the Vanguard Group and BlackRock Fund Advisors. These same groups also invest in other pharmaceutical corporations pumping the COVID vaccines, as well as they own a lot of the media companies that are giving us the information coming out about these vaccines. All right, so it's even crazier how everything's connected, but I'd like to say that GMO foods use chemicals to produce themselves, right? And then the organic non-GMO prevent the use of chemical preservatives or toxins that could potentially be life-threatening for the body over the long term. And so this is the thing that I want to end on about Rockefeller medicine. All right, so Rockefeller medicine, this family used to be banking in oil, right? And so there's petroleum products in medicine, in the pharmaceutical industry, of how they make the pills, right? So Rockefeller medicine also helped fund the German Nazi eugenics program. And so this is crazy. The eugenics people are messing with the food people. And so the Rockefeller Foundation even funded the program that Joseph Mengele worked on with his famous twin research, right? In order to find out all kinds of genetic stuff on humans. All right, and eugenics. All right, so that is something that blew my mind away. And so what I do with Flow Health is not only give you the little pieces that you need to use, but also to think about in a roundabout way when it comes to purchase power. So what I am going to say about Flow Health is that I'm going with Hippocrates and the way that he used medicine, as let food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. Hippocrates would want me to follow this as well as teach it, and that's what I plan on doing. So with that information, I hope you've enjoyed my presentation and are getting more interested about how Flow Health can work with you using these tools of diet, exercise, and stress recycling. Again, I appreciate your time and letting me give out my passion like this, and I hope you use whatever works for you, and we'll see the transformation. I can't wait. Have a great day, everyone.